So team, welcome back. The day 6 for our Selenium free training. While we initially assumed it to be more like a 5-hour thing, I think it's going to turn out to be 6 to 7 hours. With the primary intent that what we need must be covered with a lot of focus on the fundamentals. I did get a couple of, actually 2 or 3 people who approached saying, can we focus only on Selenium and not the other parts? That is not the intent, team. Like we showed you in the initial agenda as well, very critical for us to have a holistic view. And this is where we try and jump something and skip something only to realize tomorrow that one of the fundamentals, one of the pillars to build this foundation is missing. So at this point is where you have to be very focused. So whatever we have covered so far is very critical. Please remember that. Second, I believe that from now on, you will have more technical issues, challenges and queries coming your way. So if that happens, how do you get support or help or some kind of resolutions team? Very critical for you to continue this learning. Like I mentioned, this is the beginning. There's a lot more to learn to really get into the industry and make an impact into automation projects. So you need some constant learning. One of the first things that I'll do, team, and which you can try and see is, I'll put it day 7 as a Q&A. If you want it tomorrow, that is fine. If you want it before I start the more advanced live training as being the first session, that is fine as well. Okay. Here are some of the topics that I want to cover today. This is what we'll focus on. Any questions, anyone, before we get going with this? I'll take a few questions from the audience and then we can go forward. And if you are someone who would want to speak, please feel free to raise your hand and I will unmute you. All right. So while I do the hand raising thing, 1 second. Let me also look at the questions that are coming in. So anyone who wants to speak can raise the hand. And if you put a question earlier, then please repeat it. So there's a question from Miss Kang. In the last session, you had walked us through the different ways of element identification, link text being one of them. Could you show any example of the same? Yes, I did show link text already, correct? Haven't I? See, in the Selenium IDE, screen. In the Selenium IDE, the 4th point here, no, 3rd one, 2nd one in fact, click and wait. Here's the link equals the text of the link itself. If you could please tackle all questions at end. Sure. So are you suggesting, Raj, that I don't do it now and I do it towards the end? What if I do both, please? Some in the beginning and some in the end? Because I'm sure with the 2 days gap we got, there may be a few questions unanswered. Can we be advised of what items we can download, install beforehand? This could save you and us a lot of time to have these items installed before. So D, for this specifically, what happens is it is easier to walk through in a visual manner than just a document with screenshots. We have all those documentations, installation docs and so on available. The intent of this training is that you are totally focused in listening and seeing what we're doing rather than trying to repeat the same parallelly. You need to do your practice offline, please. A little bit additional effort from you, but it's all about making that effort. Thanks, Raj. Partial link would be partial link text. Let's see if we can find one of the situations where we get partial link text, okay? And we'll try and use that. I'll show it in WebDriver as we go along. Shraddhanjali. Anyone else have an issue that my voice is breaking? Because I hear that only from one participant. All right. When will we start with Selenium live training classes? Maybe in about 10 days, team. The reason is I'm traveling back next week to US, and after that there is a very big event that we're planning with XPD Test. We are co-hosting a webinar on their latest product called APM Studio that they've launched. So we're preparing for that for June 14th. We'll invite all of you. Maybe from June 15th or 16th, we'll get started with the team. This, which I just discussed yesterday with Ashna, and we should be able to come up with that soon. All right, so let's get to the topic now, and then we'll cover these, then we'll come back to some Q&A towards the end of it. Now, why do we need to go from Selenium IDE to Selenium Eclipse team? Why do we need to do that? Let's talk about, from the audience, what are the advantages of Selenium? Why has it become popular? Can you guess what are the different reasons? Why has Selenium become pretty popular? You give me the answers, I'll start writing it here. Open source, yes. What does open source mean? Why does it make open source? In fact, the topic 0 will be Selenium advantages. No license fee. What else? Why else is open source critical? No license. Easy to use is another one. Okay. I don't think it is actually easy to use. It's a little bit more complicated. Flexibility and adaptation. Why did it happen? Adaptation. Flexibility is one. Adaptation is the other one. Why did globally it become a popular one? Supports variety of languages. Yes. So what is the advantage? Multiple dev/QA teams can work on automation. So there could be IT companies or IT teams within client side where they use their .NET shop or a Java shop or a Ruby shop, and they can come up with the same effect of Selenium through it. Web-based applications, okay, that's what it does. Reusability is, so ERA team, the efficiency, reusability and accuracy are terms which are common to everyone. It's not just this. It works with open source standards. So no, why open source? Again, this is very critical team. Believe me, just because it is no license fee does not, it's not no license, it's no license fee, does not mean that everyone will jump to it, correct? Now, simplest example is, let's say I make IT learn everything that we do totally free, like, disruptive. Do you think every student across the globe who are in software testing, or even let's assume 50% will come to me? Not necessary. Just because there's a word free does not mean it'll do everything. The bigger reason is because it's got a user community which is constantly contributing and building things around it. And it is a user crowd-based support. There is no one team which is saying that we are here to take care of each of you. If you're a paid customer, there is a support involved. If you're not a non-paid customer, then there should be something else. Minimum coding, Again, that may not be right. A few more things, team, which I missed. Anyone wrote anything, because so many answers here that you think is important and have not put it here? Yes, Asma put something. Different OS, yes, and cross browser, yes, that's important. What else? There is also a concept of you can integrate with various continuous integration and continuous delivery platforms and tools. You also can execute over a grid network. Can you do parallel test runs? Yes, Ron, you're right. Parallel test runs. What does it mean? How do I give a real life example for parallel test runs? Okay, let's say very simple. How do I say it? It's the same task being done by more than one resource to achieve some efficiency in a parallel way. So let's say I'm running a test on Firefox. If I want to do cross browser, I should also run that on Chrome and Safari and Internet Explorer. Can I do all of them at the same time? So instead of saying it took 2 minutes for each of them, and let's say we're using 5 browsers, it took total 10 minutes. Can we cut down everything into 2 minutes because we're running it on 5 browsers at the same time? It does not have to be necessarily just on browsers. It could be different test cases being executed parallelly. All these are some great features, team, that it brings. Now, you have seen Selenium IDE, what it does. Okay. Open source, yes, it is very much with it. Easy to use, yes. Flexibility, yes. Adaptation, yes. Does it support variety of languages? That's a question. Have you seen any programming language on Selenium IDE so far, team? No. Web-based apps, yes. Minimum coding, totally yes. And we talk about Selenium IDE right now, and where the limitations are and why we need to move to Selenium WebDriver. A different operating system, yes, you can install it on Windows, iOS. I've not used Linux, but I'm assuming. Does it do cross-browser, team? Selenium IDE, does it execute tests on multiple browsers? Yes or no, everyone? Please participate. These are the small things. You'll know exactly why. It'll never shake away your understanding. No, it does not. It works only on Firefox. Why? Because that has been created for Firefox and it works only with Firefox. Then how come we can't do cross-browser? The reason being, this is a beginner level tool that Selenium provides for faster, easier, simpler automation. If we need to get to something more advanced, then we need to look at Selenium WebDriver and how it can be executed with multiple programming languages. Be it continuous integration, continuous delivery, running, executing tests in a grid network, running parallel tests, or even having simple concepts of frameworks that you can implement. All these are very tough on Selenium IDE. All right. Now let's go back to a Selenium IDE script. Here is one simple script that we generated long back, right? Where is the Firefox browser? Oh, it's here. Okay. Now let's focus, team, and on for 5 minutes on this, then we'll get to Eclipse and other things. I'll show you very quickly. It shouldn't take you long, but this is recording, so you can also look back, but take notes. It's very easy to take notes. I'm writing them either way. So let's say I enter an invalid email address. What should come up, team? There should be a message that should say something like this, and it comes and it goes away. So I'll inspect this element with Firebug, and the point there is email is not found is what should be shown. So Control C, and we want to make sure that we do a verification here, and the value of text that we're verifying is email is not found. What is the command to verify if a text is present on the web application? Again, as you keep practicing, you will start remembering. If you do not, two options. See if you can start typing and see if there's a command. Text verify, no. Capture text, we're not doing that. So there's verify, a lot of things with verify. Is there verified text? There you go. So what does this do? It tells us exactly what it does. Gets the text of an element. This works for any element and so on. This command uses either get text and so on, which is rendered. Returns the text of the element. Verified text. But I wanted to verify if text is present. Let's see. This command is deprecated. Use the verified text command with an element locator instead. Deprecated basically means, team, in a programming world, there is something better that has come and it overrules the older one. You don't need that feature anymore. So that feature or that specific concept has been lowered down and it will not be necessary anymore. It basically says verified text does it. I'm not sure, but we'll check. So what are the three things that are important, team? What we need to do, where we need to do, and what is the value or information that you want to use to perform that operation. So here, can you see this code and tell me the XPath for this, everyone? You already seen how we write XPath. I want you to give me correct answer, even if it takes you 30 seconds. I want you to write the correct XPath, please. Team, there is a format for XPath. It cannot be in whatever format. It will not understand. Every programming application, system, language, tools take instruction in a specific way only. You cannot assume that it will accept it. There is only one correct answer. See, again, I'm getting the same old incorrect answers. Without backslashes, curl brackets instead of square brackets, double quotes instead of single quotes. Not right, team, okay? Focus on them. There is no point in going further into more advanced automation for you if you don't master this. 2 forward slashes, sorry, and then div, that's the HTML tag, open square brackets, @ID equals hide me. Now is this correct? Does it find it? Anything blinking? No. Let's look at log. Let's clear this, the old one, and say find again. It says no. Why do you think? Why do you think? I actually did it deliberately. I know why I did this. And this is the attention for detail. Message is not on the screen, is not correct yet because it is there in the code. It should still be able to recognize. Yep, M must be uppercase here, not lowercase. That could be one primary reason. So these small things can frustrate you, team. Now did it find it? How do I know? No error coming, so it is locating it. I can't see it because the way that element has been designed by the web development team is it should come and disappear. That is the reason it does not stay there for too long. Now that we have written this, let's try and save this quickly. Save test case, because this is same test case we'll take to Eclipse now, team. Putting it somewhere, SFT. This is AA underscore forgot password. All right, just saving this test case. Now let's execute it, team. Somewhere between medium slow, so we can see what's happening on the application as well. It's a very neat tool, team. It's a very neat tool, and it gives us the correct information. So test case passed, good. And you change anything here, the test case won't pass. Now, the big question to everyone, Selenium IDE still requires some kind of a scripting or programming language at the back end. When I save this test case in that folder, what is the format that it got saved as? Who can answer that question for me, please? This is a forgot password. It's already showing it to you there. It is in a HTML format, team. If you were not aware of this earlier, no problem. Now you are. The test cases that you save and maintain through Selenium IDE get saved as a HTML file. So this one, if I double click and open it as a file, where will it open? On a browser? How is it going to look? This is how it's going to look, team. There's no column names, but it's obvious for Selenium IDE to understand. The name of the test case is on top. Then there are three columns, command, target, value. The same information that is there in Selenium IDE is here. So if I take this file and send it to each of you, you can take it and run it directly on your Selenium IDE. You can get the test case, put it there, open the test case using Selenium IDE and run it. Now, there is a significant reason why we need to move away from Selenium IDEs to Selenium WebDriver, which I've mentioned here. It does not give us the total potential of the advantage. To do that, we go towards a WebDriver route. But why it is so, how does it affect frameworks or logical building, cross-browser, parallel test runs, is a very advanced, intense sessions team. And it requires a focused approach, which is not part of what we're doing. I'm going to show you the basic ways of moving there, and you need to get started to take it to the next level slowly, day by day. All right. Now let's see. We have the script and so on. Now, in the Selenium IDE, you will notice that there's a menu bar and there's an options out here. Okay. And under options, if you look at format, it will list down all the different programming formats or languages in which it can show you how it can execute, with being Java, JUnit, TestNG, Ruby, Python, and so on. It says formats not available here. Why? If you go under options and look at this enable experimental features, it is right now turned off. You need to turn it on, team. The reason is Selenium IDE is not supporting all of those programming features, and you need to make some changes to the code. It does not guarantee that code that it gives will work as is. That's the main message that's passing. Say okay, go back to options, look at the format, and you'll see the list of everything. The current format in which it is present, this code, is HTML. Now we have C#, Java, with both JUnit and TestNG, Python, Ruby. These are the four primary language families that it supports. All right. We will focus on Java. It can be JUnit or TestNG. Now you need to click on Java JUnit for WebDriver. The remote control that you see here was earlier part of something called as a Selenium server or RC, and we had to launch a server from command prompt and then execute it. WebDriver came in and made it much easier for the end user, not that complicated. So RC is no longer being used anywhere in the industry. Only if someone has already built a lot of things around it, they still need to, but what we require in the market is total WebDriver team. So I'm going to click on Java JUnit for WebDriver. Watch what happens to our screen. as soon as I say OK. So the table that was there here has now become source. Table was that HTML, 3 columns, command target value. Source is where the complete Java code is. Now, this code as it looks scary for a non-programmer, and it is not going to be a very simple, easy cakewalk to understand every line of it. All right, there's this whole code, too many, curl braces, semicolons, brackets, symbols, stars. So there's a lot of things, and it's very easy for someone to say, you know what, I can't go further. This is too complex. But here is where we need to make things very simple and very clear. Now, to be able to effectively work with such code, I'm going to undo this. I just want to show you what it is. You need to do Eclipse IDE. Why an IDE team? What does it do? As the name stands, it is an integrated development environment. Now, the code that we copied right now that I showed you, if I save it as a Java class and then execute it, it will run. All right. Now, what IDE does, it gives you an easy UI, user interface to work with. It also gives you a place to maintain the code and versions. Different versions of it can be easily made. It will help you execute the code as well. It can also help you give you reports and results. Very importantly, it will give you suggestions and tips to make coding easier or simpler. For these primary reasons, it becomes very important to use Eclipse IDE team. Why Eclipse? Are there not other IDE tools in the market? Of course, there are so many. Eclipse is a very popular one, especially in the Java community, and hence it has kind of picked up a large amount of user base. So it's well supported. It's again an open source, rather it's a common user license thing where any user can start downloading and using it. So to get started with Eclipse, we need to ensure that there is Java properly installed on your machine team. What you require to begin with is this Java runtime environment. There is something called as JDK, Java Development Kit. Then there is Java itself, and then there's Java Runtime Environment. Very simply, I'll tell you the differences. Any application that runs on Java on your local machine needs Java to be present in your system installed to do it. It's a very basic level. Is Java there or not? We just go to command prompt, hit CMD, and say Java. It must tell you if it's installed or not. If it's not, it will say that, hey, cannot find something called Java. Let's say I misspell it. It'll say is not recognized as a command. So that's one of the first things. But the reason we require something called as a Java runtime environment is because we're not just Java users who's running Java applications, but we are developing them now. We have to develop it. And that's why you need to have a complete setup. Very simple team. Rely on Google blindly. There is no problem at all in straightforward going. Each of these questions that are there, I will show you how to get them. Now I need to install Java runtime environment, right? Install, download JRE. Which version? Don't worry. We'll figure out the latest one. Now, Java, which was part of the Sun thing earlier, is now part of Oracle. So Oracle is hosting the runtime environment team. So click on this and it'll show you multiple download options. Depending on your machine, depending on your processor, if it's a 34-bit or 64-bit and so on. For Mac OS also it has got. Now all you need to do is say accept the license and then download the one which is relevant to you. So mine could be Windows 64. Even if it's a 32, I believe this should work for it. So you can take this file, there is star.z. Offline means basically an exe file, that's fine too. Once it downloads, you double click, it will go through 5-6 steps, self-installation, it should take care of everything. Should not be a major challenge on this team. I am assuming that it should be easy for you to do it at your end and you can execute. If you have a question as to what is your system, if it's 32-bit or 64-bit, just go to your C drive, right click on it, properties, actually should go to my computer I guess, yeah, not here. Oops, sorry, where is my computer? This PC. Okay, right click, properties, and it should show you this system properties team. So this one, oh, I didn't know this was Windows 8. I thought this was Windows 10. It's a loaner laptop for me that I'm temporarily using. So this is 64-bit operating system team. That's what it is, right? So that's how you can check at your end what you have. Now, after you install Java runtime environment, the next step is to install, download and install Eclipse. When I say install team, I'm assuming download is also part of that. Give me 1 second, everyone. Hello. Hello. I'm in a class, sir. The exact time for my class. I am in a class. Can I call you back? Sorry, guys. People are assuming it's an off. Give me 1 quick second. One second, team. Class. All right, sorry, team. I'm back. Okay, so now starts the Eclipse. Eclipse is a great tool, team. It did initially scare me when I wanted to start working after almost a 15-year gap with programming. Not 15 years, I would say more like 12 years gap. It was not easy, team. So again, go back to Google, search for Eclipse. Eclipse, download, and you will be guided toward the host where Eclipse is present. Go to the download section directly for Eclipse and look at the latest one, which is you built for or created specifically for Java developers. Okay, there are a lot of packages that Eclipse has come up with, team, each one serving a different purpose. You stay simple, take Eclipse Neon. If this is someone who's watching this video a year down the line, it could be a different name altogether, or even maybe 2 months down the line. So you look at this, or you can look at various packages. So just click on the download 64-bit, and it's again very easy self-installation thing. But make sure your Java and Java runtime environment are set up before you install Eclipse, because Eclipse requires it to be present for you to start working. Fair enough, everyone? Any questions so far which is not yet addressed? Don't ask me those, please, which I'm maybe coming towards. Just hold on to it. I'm assuming you all can hear me okay, team? All right, great. So since you can hear me okay, let's continue, and we'll come back to the questions later. Now, there's something called as a download required drivers. But before that, there is step 2.1, which is create the first Eclipse, first Java project in Eclipse. Very important thing. See, I know exactly what I need to be doing. Then I forgot to write them as steps because I don't come prepared with this is the agenda. The reason it is okay for me to do that is because I do this daily, so it's not a rocket science anymore for me. It's pretty easy thing. So here are some of the scripts that we're doing in the Selenium live training, and we still have one more session to go. We're building various types of frameworks and showing them how it works, how we do executions and so on. Now, when you start Eclipse, it'll come up with a welcome screen. You just close that welcome screen, go to File, go to New under File, and say a new Java project. All right, everyone. For those of you who have question, you can start the video from this point, about 40 minutes or 30 into the session. Give it a name, team. So this is Selenium free training _ May 2017. This is the name I'll give. All right. The reason this is important, team, is because for you to give it correct name it's easy for you to recognize, and also there's naming conventions like you cannot use maybe special characters or so. If you do, it will prompt you. So just watch for messages that it is giving. These advanced tools are very interactive, so even if there's any kind of an issue, you will be able to it'll give you a suggestion and you can fix it. Now it gives you an option to say Java runtime environment. I already have it, so I will not worry. I'll just go down and say finish. There are so many options in this, you can happily ignore them. Their default is good options. Only when you're going to some more advanced activities, you need to look at it. So as soon as you say finish, on the left side in this package explorer, you'll see a new tree generated. So here are the two ones. One for the Selenium live training, the advanced one that we're doing. That's kind of just ended or ending. Then the Selenium free training. Expand this team. You will see a source folder, and then there's a Java runtime environment system library. So like Selenium, Java is also open source and it has a community. Each of these Java jar files are nothing but Java archived resources. There's also a concept called as reusable libraries team. I'll explain very briefly what a library is because it's very important for you to understand these concepts. Oops. Alt Fs, and here let me take a drawing tool. So here is Java. It has been created by someone and said, hey, it's open source. Come on, everyone, participate in it, start building along with us and make something. So someone said that, hey, you know what? I want Java to work with our file systems in our Windows. And they created for input and output of files some kind of code or reusable library. And that became like a jar file. They said, I want to interact with Excel applications. Someone created a jar file for that. Let's say they want Java now has to talk with Selenium WebDriver. It is my mouse team. That's why these drawings kind of get continued. Selenium, someone else, some other user group has created that. All of this become jar files team. All right. These are like reusable library. You only use them as needed. It's a very simple concept that I take. If I'm going for a short walk close to my home, what would I carry? Maybe my wallet, my phone, and headset or something like that to listen to music. That's all I need. But let's say I'm going for a longer walk. I'll probably also carry a water bottle because I know I'll need water, I'll be thirsty. If I'm going for a long, if I'm going to work, I need to carry my laptop and all these basic essentials. If I'm going on a long international trip, you're carrying a lot of luggage with you because you'll need it. So in the similar way, you only try and carry what you need. There is no point of me carrying a huge set of 3-bag luggage just for a short walk. It's the same concept in programming. Use the resources as needed to keep things efficient. It is no longer just important to keep things running correctly, but it is also critical to keep things running quick, fast, easier to maintain, overall making them efficient. So these jar files are created by contributors. One of the best examples is Apple. When it launched its iPhone, it said it will create an app marketplace. And it said to the world that, listen, create your apps, put it on our iTunes store, sell it or give it for free, and then we can make money together or we can make them popular together. iTunes was more commercial and these are more freely available tools for us. All good so far, everyone? Just checking. Technical questions I'll come to, please. See, these are the fundamental, very, very critical concepts that you should not skip. Now, what should we focus on? There's so many things in the screen, right, everyone? Let me erase this drawing. Oops. Erase all drawings. Go back to the normal pen mode. I'll come to the questions in a short while. Now, in here, there's so many things. Ignore. It's a very important mode at the early stages of our learning curve is to ignore certain aspects that are not critical. Just like these jar files only carry the enough knowledge that is required for you to get started. As you keep going, you keep adding more and more to it. So you can happily minimize this Java runtime system library and focus on the source folder. Source folder is the main folder where you will start creating what you want. Okay. You can right click on this. It's taking a second. It's not responding. And this is a pretty large applications team. It requires a considerable system resources. So when you're working on it, it is advisable to have a faster processor, a much decently better system. Go to new and under this, go to something called as a class. All right. Everything that we do in Java is through classes. And that is the basic concept of a methodology, object-oriented programming system. Let's give it a name. We were talking about any_forgot password, right, everyone? This was a test case. So the same thing, I'll give it as a class name and say as public. As soon as I finish it, you will notice something coming up here. And this is the basic formation of a class. What is public? What is class? Why are there curl brackets here? Ignore as of now. This is where programming becomes important and we'll try and get to that a little slowly. Right now what you need to do is from our Selenium IDE, copy that entire code, bring it here, do a Control A here and replace everything. Okay. As soon as you do this, you will notice that the code is here. It is much better to look at than looking at the code in the notepad. What are the primary 2 or 3 differences looking at the code here than in notepad team? 1, it has line numbers. 2, every word has got different color and it kind of symbolizes what it means. Third one, very important, is it will give you instructions as to what it can understand, what it cannot. Let's say that I need to go to Russia and I don't know anything to do with Russian language, I will need a translator. So I, who knows English, can speak to someone in Russia. Now the translator in between must know both English and Russian language. Only then he or she can help me get my message translated and make an effective communication. The same with programming language. The reason it is called a programming language is just like language, it's got its own syntax, style, script, and so on. So for us to effectively communicate, we need to ensure that every instruction that we give is easily understandable to the Java engine which sits and runs this code. While it is very simple in terms of English, the words, it's still more structured. You cannot just say, I will write whatever I want here. It has to be in the format. Anything that is not understandable for Java, it will tell you with a red line and say it's a syntax error. There are two types of errors that happen or you'll come across. Come on, where is this? There is a syntax error where it just basically a programming language telling us, I don't understand what you are saying. Then there is something called as a runtime error. I am unable to do what you are asking me. Okay, there is a problem of understanding. There is no point going further. Once it understands, then you are trying to execute the code. It has a failure during execution. That becomes runtime. During execution, during running, at that time, you have an error. So first and foremost, syntax errors have to be fixed. To do that, there are a couple of things that you have to again assume and realize. Package basically says if I have some kind of a structure to, like a subfolder structure created here, then this package is relevant. If not, I will delete this line. Okay. The next thing is there are a lot of red lines out here, team. Can you see this? It basically signifies the fact that I don't understand a lot of things. Now, there is a section called import here. Can you see? Every line is called import this, import this, import this, and so on. These are those libraries or archived resources that are needed for this program to work. Then comes the main public class. This is going to be main class. The name of the file, which is a_forgotpassword.java, and this class name have to be the same. So I cannot have it differently. So I'm going to name it. Observe what happens to this red line as soon as I correct this team. Okay. It's disappeared. So on line 10, there was a red check mark, and when I did this, it went away. All right. Next thing, to work effectively, we need certain jar files installed. What are all those jar files or drivers? One, you need a Selenium jar file or Selenium. You can call it as a Selenium server. It will have a lot of things in it. You need something called as a JUnit jar. You also need, I think JUnit jar sometimes comes by default, but you'll also have to search for it and get it. You'll also need, what else is there here? WebDriver is there. JUnit is there. Yeah, browser driver files. Okay. How do we get them? Very simple. Let's go to the home of Selenium. SeleniumHQ.org. This is the home for Selenium team. Out here, just go to the downloads page and you'll see a plenty of things here. So what you're looking to do is the Selenium server jar file. It'll work with all of those things, but it has all the components that you require to get going. So you just download the latest 3.4.0 version and let it download. I'll open the download show in folder. You'll need to do all of this at your end, team. Okay. So here is your Selenium server standalone jar. I will cut this. I'll go to the folder where we are working on. Actually, you know what? I already have this. And here I'll create browsers. Did I do something here? Okay. Let's do that. Oops. New folder. I'll just call this as drivers. See, there's so many things to do to get to going there, right? These are quite a few steps, team. It's not that it is so straightforward. You have to install and implement each of them. Similarly, now we'll go and search for JUnit jar download. Come on. What is this web? Oh, Bing is taking me to Bing. Okay. You can go directly to sourceforge.net, which is hosting the JUnit download. It's just an open source platform again. What is JUnit? Also, I need to explain. I'll try and make a quick attempt for it. Click on download. So team, have you all got the 2 sessions, right? Today and this tomorrow as well. One more, correct everyone? So we'll try and install everything today and we'll try and better understand the code in tomorrow's session. There's a request from one of the candidates saying if I can start the Selenium paid sessions for the advanced training earlier than June 15th. I can try because you're saying live project will get delayed. Live projects are going on, team, and I've mentioned this to everyone. You have to go to qaonair.com. There are live projects going on even now. You don't have to wait for live projects. If you need to acquire the right skill for it, we also have a great set of tutorials. Just take the videos from a previous batch and start watching them as a movie. In fact, I will draft a small email that will help you with the next steps very easily, and you don't have to wait for the live training. In fact, it'll make the live training much easier. So QA on Air is live, it is active. There are freelancers already posting their profiles. There are projects that are getting created as well, so you can start to be a part of it. All right, so what happened? Jar file, JUnit jar file is done. So let's move this also from here. Unfortunately, team, I cannot do things faster than this when I'm teaching. When I work like a super fast express. Absolutely, I go relentlessly rock into execution step by step. But when I need to teach, the audience needs to really be part of it, and that's why I kind of put my voice to stress. I go one by one. It should not give you major challenges later. Now that we've downloaded these jar files, I need to associate them to my project, my Java project. So what I do is right click on the project and go to properties here. Under properties, you will see something called as a Java build path. And here are where the libraries can be added. So there are inbuilt libraries and then can be external libraries that we add from based on the need. So you click on add external jars and let's go to our folder and under drivers I have these two jar files. Now as soon as I add them, team, see out of how many, it should show me somewhere actually. There are a lot of issues here that you see red lines. Let's see if something gets eliminated. Wow, most of the red lines have disappeared, correct everyone? But there's still some orange ones with yellow thing. These are just warnings saying, you know what, it is not, something is wrong, but I can still understand what you're saying. It should not be an issue, is the message that we're getting from there. Okay, not responding. Give it a second, please. All right. Now here is the whole code that is there. All right. And I don't see any other errors. Ensure you keep saving your files, team. So I'm going to click on save all because I usually have multiple tabs open. Each one has different code. So I'm just keeping it as save all. So now I have all this code. What do I need to do next, team? I need to execute. The step after that is to understand this code better, but execution is what is critical right now. I will click on run this code, just like the execution that we did in Selenium IDE. At this point, it should perform various steps and operations and tell me what is happening. It is giving me a illegal state exception, some error, something is not right. See out here, there's an error, and even here it's saying failure trace. What is this, team? Can someone tell me? What kind of an error is this? There are two types of errors that I showed you, right? Those are runtime errors. Syntax error will show you the red line. Runtime error will show you the issue, that execution itself is an issue. All right, everyone. So these small things are very critical for us to figure out. Now, I don't know the reason to this. How do I solve this? Again, another roadblock that is a very, very easy exit option for many of us. We give up because it looks too complicated. The most important thing out here, team, is to ensure that you know the error well, look at where the error is occurred and try and fix it. In this case, I know exactly why, because there's something to do with my Firefox driver and a path to it. I'm going to take that path and use it as of now, so that it is at least, it let me do the one simple execution. Where is my path? Okay, it's here. I'll explain this concept to you in the next session, team. Let me run this now. If there's no error that happens, it should launch Firefox browser and perform exactly the same steps that we performed using Selenium IDE. When Selenium IDE is doing all of this, why take this huge headache and do it on Firefox? Right, everyone? It does not make sense. It's too much of an effort. I'll tell you a very simple example to it. Now it's automatically launched the app and it is performing it, and it should be able to execute everything, tell us what is happening and give us the results. If it is halted somewhere, team, you think it's taken more than long, then what you could do is go back to Eclipse and see if the execution is done. If this is still red, that means the JUnit test is executing still. It's not completed execution. So you wait for it for some certain time. Then it will give up and say either all done or there's an issue. some issue team. Another one, it says something like no such element exception. Very critical to find these and master these. It's a long process team to master each and every line in this, but there's a basic good start for it. So the example that I wanted to take for why do I need Selenium, WebDriver, Eclipse and everything when I can do it much more simpler in Selenium IDE. It's like saying why should I switch from a regular keypad cell phone to a much more advanced smartphone, especially the older generation like our parents and so on, they hesitate. You know what, I'm very comfortable with the small phone. I don't need a smartphone because they don't know the advantage or they believe it is not for them. But as they keep using slowly, this will make it easier for us to accomplish more tasks. Cameras, WhatsApp, giving us a better, larger screen to watch something, to interact with people, to communicate better. That's what smartphones are primarily aiming at. Now, when we come back tomorrow, team, we'll understand why this error occurred, where it occurred, and how we fix it. But primarily the purpose of taking the code from IDE, Selenium, to Eclipse and running it using Java JUnit, we've kind of accomplished. There are runtime errors that we can go and fix now. So any questions on what we have done so far, even if you put them earlier and it did not answer, kindly place them out here again. Sony. My voice was much better 2.5, 3 years back. It's a little bit more hoarse these days. Just don't get time to give it a break. What time tomorrow? Should be the same time. 7 a.m. India, 6:30 p.m. Pacific. On installing Eclipse, it shows various options. Which one should I choose? Eclipse IDE for Java developers or Eclipse for testers? I did mention this. It is Eclipse IDE for Java developers, Smita. D, is this session recorded so I can play back later and go through if I fat fingered a step or two? Sure, absolutely. Every session is recorded. It requires me for a 1-hour video, a 2-hour conversion process. Then I upload it into the YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/qtpelearn. Then my team has to take that and put it onto our website and then it is accessible to you. Do you want a faster route? Very simple. Go to the YouTube channel that is listed here and subscribe. You will be notified as soon as a new video is posted there. Okay. All our free videos are out here in this channel, team. Is tomorrow last free class? I think so, yes. Instead of JUnit, can we have TestNG? Sure, you can. And that's where you need to first understand why Java, why JUnit, why TestNG, what are the differences, and so on. Each of them to take it to the next stage. Karthik.jar is Java archive resources. Yes, kindly confirm. It is correct. Java archived resources. I could be maybe a character here or there incorrect. It is Java archived resources. Jayanta. Thank you, Sony. Can you give knowledge for how to take input from an Excel file tomorrow? No, too advanced for our current agenda of this 5-6 hours free training. What you'll be talking about is a total 25-30 hour program, team. When is it a good time to switch from Selenium IDE? Could you please provide an example? Sure, Tejinder. Practice as much as you can on Selenium IDE to migrate to Java. Take your time, feel comfortable with Selenium IDE, but don't overdo Selenium IDE because you'll feel comfortable and the migration will be tough. Do about 4-5 tests in Selenium IDE. Do some of them as record, do some of them as write your own, and so on, and then try and move. Do not try and go advanced on Selenium IDE to do some JavaScript operations, create variables, make print statements. Don't do all that in Selenium IDE, team. use a programming language. That will be the right time to move on to programming language. Okay, let's see what else. If you recall in earlier session, you mentioned that there's 13-hour free training for AACT, anyod.com, right? Yes, Sunita. If I have any questions with respect to installation or some technical issues in Selenium, is there anyone to whom I can call and speak to? So we have a forum, but that's only for our premium members. It's a tech forum. For you, there is a QA discussion created for each of them. So for example, itlan.com/anyod, where we have the 13-hour free training, a great program for beginners. It's got a lot of things in it. Come on. All the videos are here. And if you go to any day video, you'll also find a discussion forum under it. You can use that. Now, the current one which we're talking about, so the discussions are out here, team. Right? Now, online courses, this is what we are talking about. Where is the ongoing course? Ashna, someone there from the team? Can you share the link for the Selenium free training videos that's going on right now? Mobile app testing, ACD Live, HPF Lean.
Yes, Karthik. For the March batch, I'll share it right now.
Oh, it's on Selenium. Okay. So yeah, team. What we did to make things easier, the live things we are putting it directly. Here you go. So the videos and the discussions will be there with each day's session. Right. Let's see any of the further questions before we come to the end of this. We did not find 5 dates. No, it's there. Check. Do you see it on my screen now, Sana? So to continue your sessions further after tomorrow's class, we need to be a premium member, right? Yes, Rakesh, because there is a lot to learn. And I need to be serious and focused. So do you need to. Because if you observed, the first session, there were about 550 people. And then slowly it ended up towards more like 100, 130 active participants. A lot of dropouts happen because we don't have the seriousness into it. If I have any questions with respect to installation or some technical issues, yeah. So Sunita, I already answered that. What kind of basic test we can create? Like I did, 4 steps, 5 steps, maybe up to 10 steps. That's a great start. Sony, there's plenty of free tutorials already on YouTube. Okay, so you don't need to be a paid member for that specific reason, right? Just letting you know. There are hundreds of videos here. Sana, if you miss the free training, you have it. Why do we need frameworks? Again, a bigger picture, bigger question, team. There's a lot to cover on that. When the premium sessions will start? Couple of weeks, like I mentioned earlier. Karthik, I have a project to be tested in Selenium. Can I get any help resource to the same with me? Sure, Sunita, would love to. Do me a favor, put it up here. We have hundreds of profiles coming up on qaonair.com. You don't have to express or disclose everything. You can also write to me or Saqib and we'll guide you on it. Okay, we'll definitely guide you. If you have a project that you're working on and you require assistance, I'm sure there are a lot of members who would love to help. Is there any direct interaction with trainer or technical team? Because I posted a question on forum. Malati, if it's been the last 4 or 5 days, Manoj unfortunately had has going through a very rough patch personally with his mother's health. So there's been a delay there, but we're getting back into the technical forum. The community is strong there. The other members should help you. If there's something that is stopping your team, feel free to send an email, mark me as well, karthik@itlan.com, and we'll respond to that. Alright team, that's it for today then. We'll see you back tomorrow and we'll go from there. Take care everyone. Bye now. Bye all.